Here's something I see all the time with home service businesses. The owner looks at the leads and says, these leads are bad. And yes, sometimes bad leads happen. I'm not saying every Google LSA lead is perfect, but before you decide the leads are bad, there's one question I would ask first. Did the customer already book someone else before your team got to them? Because in home services, that happens a lot. The lead might have been real, the need may have been real, but if the response was too late, it can feel like a bad lead when really the timing was already lost. This happens every single day. A customer needs help. Maybe they have a leak, maybe the AC stopped working, whatever. They go to Google, they find a new company, and they start calling. They're not sitting there waiting for one business forever. A lot of the time they call 2 or 3 companies, and the fastest helpful one has a huge advantage. Not always the cheapest, not always the biggest, the fastest helpful one. That is why response speed matters so much with Google LSA. This is the common reaction. These leads are bad. But the question I'd ask is, how fast did you respond? Because if the customer called, didn't get an answer, called another company, and booked with them, then by the time you called back, that customer may have sounded like a bad lead. They might say, oh, I already found someone, or they might not answer at all, and from your side it feels like another bad lead. But really, the window may have closed before your team got there. A lead has a short window, especially in home services. Once somebody is ready to book, you do not have unlimited time. And I'm not saying every lead disappears in 30 seconds, but the longer it takes to respond, the more likely it is that the customer is already talking to someone else. That's the part a lot of owners miss. They think the lead quality is the issue, but sometimes the lead was fine. The business was just late to the conversation. Think about the type of customer we're talking about. A leak, no heat, no power, locked out, broken garage door. These are not people casually browsing for fun. Most of them need help now. So if your business treats the lead like something that can wait until later, the customer may already be gone. And then the lead gets labeled as low quality. But the customer had a real problem, they just needed someone fast enough to help. This is the painful part. The lead can be good. The customer can be real. The job can be in your service area. The job can even be the type of job you want. But if you call back too late, the job may already be booked with someone else. So now, the lead looks bad in your system, but the real problem was timing. That's why you don't want to judge a lead without also looking at response speed. Slow response can create fake bad leads. And what I mean by that is simple. The customer was real, the need was real, but the timing was lost. So when your team finally reaches out, the opportunity is already weaker. Maybe the customer doesn't answer. Maybe they say they're already booked. Maybe they sound uninterested. And it's easy to blame Google. But before blaming Google, check what happened between the moment the lead came in and the moment your team responded. Fast companies usually do a few simple things better. They answer quickly. If they miss the call, they send a text. They call back fast. And if the customer doesn't answer, they follow up once more. Nothing crazy, nothing complicated, but they don't just let the lead sit there. That's the difference. Because with paid leads, the business already paid for the opportunity. So the goal is to give every real lead a real chance to become a booked job. This is a simple missed call recovery process. A missed call comes in, the customer gets a text, then someone calls back. If they don't answer, there's a second attempt. Then the lead gets marked. Booked, lost, bad fit, no answer. That last part matters, because if you don't mark the result, everything becomes a guess. You don't know if the lead was actually bad. You don't know if the callback was too late. You don't know if the customer booked someone else. You just know money was spent. Before blaming Google, I would check these 5 things: answer time, callback time, missed call text, follow-up attempt, and booked or lost tracking. Because those numbers tell you what actually happened, not just how many leads came in, but how the business handled those leads. And this is where a lot of problems become obvious. Sometimes the issue is not the leads. Sometimes the issue is that the business has no clear response process. And if you're not sure whether your leads are actually bad or just being handled too late, that's exactly the kind of thing I look for in the free diagnostic. No passwords, no account access, just the obvious leaks and 2 quick wins. The fastest contractor often has the advantage. Again, not always the cheapest, not always the biggest, often the fastest helpful response. Because when a homeowner needs help, they want someone who seems available, serious, and easy to deal with. If your competitor answers right away and your team calls back later, that competitor may win the job before you even get a real chance. So speed is not just a customer service detail. It affects booked jobs, it affects cost per booked job, and it affects how expensive LSA feels. So the real question is, are the leads bad? Or is it the response late? Don't guess. Track the response process. Look at when the lead comes in. Look at when someone answered. Look at when the callback happened. Look at whether a text was sent. Look at whether the lead was booked, was lost, or was a bad fit. Once you know that, you can make much better decisions, because bad leads and late handled leads are 2 very different problems. If your Google LSA leads feel bad, I can take a quick look at where the leads may be getting lost. I offer a free 30-minute diagnostic, no passwords, no account access, and it's not a sales call. I look for the obvious leaks in your LSA and lead handling process, show you 2 quick wins, and tell you what I would fix first. If it makes sense to work together after that, we can talk about it. If not, you still leave with useful insights. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment. And remember, before you decide the leads are bad, check if your response is too late.